Hey guys, welcome to Unfiltered with TJ. That would be me, TJ here. How's everybody doing? Hope you're doing well. I'm doing alright myself. Having a little bit of just a lot of things going on right now. And I was gonna talk about it, but then I wasn't going to, and then I am just looking at my title and it says unfiltered, so I need to be true to what I said at the beginning, where I would be transparent. And let's go. Now's the best time as any, right? So this week, a lot of things have been going on. Start off with first one. I am no longer employed with No Frills Diner on 25th. I had a falling out with the manager. Not quite sure why it occurred the way it did. It was on Sunday, the day after the Harvest Moon Festival, where I earned like over $300 in tips. And I was like, yeah, I like this place. Like, it's a good fit for me. And then the next day, I get fired. Yay. So I was frustrated because of something that happened. And so I was trying to explain to this manager what was going on. And I don't know if he didn't want to listen or if he just was being stubborn or et cetera, or what. Anyway, I was like, hey, let's just move on. And then the similar situation came up again, and he decided to say pretty much that he didn't understand and he couldn't figure it out. And I was like, well, it's because you wouldn't listen to... I was trying to explain it. And then I let my emotions get the best of me. I will admit that. And I pretty much said to no one in particular, just kind of, like throwing it out there, like to see who would hear and what they would do. And I just said, out of anger, I said, well, you guys just don't know what the fuck you're doing. And I walked off, and yeah, I was so heated. And yeah, looking back, I'm way better than that, and I shouldn't have done that, and I let my emotions get the best of me. But this manager had the previous day just pestered me and was on me for everything and was telling me this, telling me that I wasn't doing this right, that I was just like, when someone nitpicks every single thing you're doing the whole entire time, and you stay 11 hours because you're staying late to help another employee because they're sick, you would hope you would get just a little bit of leeway, but no. And so the owner, I said, do you know how hard it is to work with that manager? And he just kind of looked at me and gave me like the general expression that, yeah, he knows, like his eyes open wide, and he was like nodding. And I said, well, he's being an asshole. And the dishwasher guy that was just right there, I guess he heard it and went and told the manager that I said he was an asshole. Long story short, I go towards the kitchen area, and the owner pulls me over and says, come here, let me talk to you for a minute. And he said something about, your attitude sucks. And I started to say, like, explain like what I was trying to say to the manager was this. And then he cut me off and said, get your stuff and go home. I didn't know if that meant I was fired or if I was just going home for the day. And I guess I wanted it to be that I was just going home, but I was like, it sounds like I got fired. So I just left. Well, I said, I need my check for the tips because they pay us out the credit card tips on Sunday. He said, well, come back before we close. So I did my thing. I actually was able to go to church because I was done for the day. So I went to church. I needed it. It was a good experience. I was able to calm down and just ask Jesus for help. Like I just feel broken. What I said to myself was, I just kept thinking that before I was incarcerated and I made this big change where I devoted my life to Jesus and I was supposed to be this changed man, this better man, and I'm acting the same way I was before I was incarcerated. So, like, am I a broken man? Like, was I just changed for a little bit and I'm back to where I was and I'm just not who I know I'm supposed to be, and I'm letting my emotions get to me, and I'm having an attitude at work and calling somebody an asshole and getting fired from the second job. And it's like, God out. So me going to church I needed that. But I still feel like I'm broken, that like I am kind of doing the same things that I can't explain it. It's just something I need to work out, but I just wanted you guys to know kind of what I'm going through. So I'm going back to my story. So I went back to No Frills before they closed on Sunday, and I sat down and just talked to the manager for like about 10 minutes. And he was just talking about my job performance, and he was pretty much saying I was doing this, and this, but they weren't telling me this, and this before they fired me. It wasn't just what happened on that Sunday. It apparently was for other things that I wasn't communicating well, and I wasn't doing this to the manager's specifications. And I said, well, you told me all you're getting is compliments from me, from customers. And he said, yeah, we're getting a lot of good compliments. That's why I fired the last crew, because we were getting complaints, and now all we're getting is compliments. And so I said, so you're getting all that? And he said, oh, well, that's only part of the job. I'm a server, and I'm serving people getting compliments for your business that is not doing very well. Long story short, got the check, got out of there. He said check back in a couple days with the manager to see if he would be willing to give you another chance. And every attempt at contact I've tried to make is just have not. So I am moving on from that part of my life, I guess. And then on Monday, I went into Parker, where my best friend works, because I applied there last month, and I wanted to see if there's somebody I could follow up with, because my grandma kind of just like, why don't you go into Parker? You need to go into Parker. Have you gone into Parker? Are you going into Parker? She just kind of like is trying to push me along to like see if that'll help in some way me get the job there. So I went in there and was just waiting for a call. Haven't got it back, so I'm debating if I should go back again. And that's pretty much that. No Frills chapter's over. New chapter is I started actually working the kitchen at BK on 2nd Street, so I'm back to what I was doing 7 years ago, but this time in a team member role, not as management. So it's a little different because I see so many things going on that I'm just like, I would never allow this. Like, just things like employees like just huddled up chatting when like I go into the bathroom and it's like dirty, and like, so I told I don't know how old she is, 20. I said, hey, the bathroom is real dirty. I'm just letting you know. I will clean it if you want, but I just was going to tell you. And she said, oh, yeah, they already cleaned it earlier. And I'm like, no, they didn't, because I went in there earlier, too. And she said, oh, yeah, he'll clean it before he leaves. And I'm thinking, like, okay, so we're just going to let it leave the bathroom dirty the whole rest of the shift. Anyway, so it's things like that I have to kind of just not, I have to hold back. And for me, I know, Lacey, you know exactly what I'm talking about. For me, that is so entirely hard for me to not say anything. So that's kind of an adventure. So at least I have that income while I'm continuing my job search. So I will be grateful for that right now until I can find something else. Next topic is the Utah Board of Pardons and Parole made a decision on Kimberly's parole hearing. So their decision is to grant her parole on October 21st. Yeah, that's right. In less than a month, Kimberly will be released from prison. And from what I've heard, she'll be being released to the halfway house in Salt Lake. There's only one for women, so as far as I know, that's it. But that's where she's going. I don't know if it's accurate, but if she does have somewhere else to go, then she'll go there. So that brings up so many emotions, so many triggers, so many things in my mind. I'm just overwhelmed with everything. And if anyone does not understand why that would happen, I don't know how to explain it, but this has caused so much stress and anxiety in my life because in a way it's been like I've been out here from prison doing my thing. I got a job, I got a place to live, I got a car. I'm doing all these things, I'm living life, but she's always been like away, like locked up, so it kind of felt like she was just always like, I can't think of the word, but she's always been like away, just like in a different realm or something like that. It feels like, so her coming back to like the streets and be like a part of society again, it just triggers so much because of how much pain she inflicted on me, how much pain she inflicted on my daughters, and how much hell she created for us, and how much hell she put so many people through. And I don't know how much she's changed, if at all, but I have so many emotions, and I will just have to leave it at that because I could sit here and talk for hours about that because it's just so horrible and difficult, and it just adds to my stress and adds to things that I'm thinking of. So I will just move on from that. So last week I asked and answered a question. Well, I should say I was asked a question and I answered it about what I would say to my future self. And then I asked you, the listener, to let me know what your answer was, and I would bring it on the podcast and talk about it, or at least just give somebody like an example of what they went through, or maybe like what they have to say could be said to you and you could use that for your future, like just to like give you a viewpoint from somebody else. Just like if you heard from someone that you cared about or loved talk about what they would say to their previous self, like you would learn a lot from them and you could use a lot of that information for yourself. So I'll read this one. I would tell myself that God has a plan for me and that heartbreak will hit and hit hard, but it will all be worth it to have the life that they have now. I wouldn't want them to change anything except to realize sooner in those difficult situations that she is better than the heartbreak and depression. It comes and goes, but the support is always there, so always ask for help. She thinks she is alone, but she's not. Wow. And side note, I started to talk about it as if it was, you wouldn't know if it's a man or woman, but then I changed it because it doesn't matter because it's still anonymous. So that is just like amazing that she could say that that like God has a plan, that heartbreak will hit, but it will all be worth it because like it like that has to happen for her to have the life she has now. And I love that she says she wouldn't want anything to change really, except to realize that in those really heartbreaking situations that she's better than that. So that is like, I love that. That's so amazing. Like, it's just such an insight to what somebody went through. And like, also as I read these, like, this like should be something you should ask one of your loved ones. Just be like, Mom, what is something you would say to your younger self? Like, I'm just so glad this question came up because I'm like so like into it. It's just like amazing to get this insight. Wow. All right, I'll read one more. Never stop loving yourself. You're going to endure so many challenges, heartbreak, and roadblocks. Protect your heart against those who pretend to be someone they truly aren't. The signs aren't visibly there, but they're there. Your mom loves you unconditionally. She's truly trying her hardest to support you and your siblings. That's why she depends on you to help her out the best you can. Don't get angry at her. She works hard because her partner doesn't. You were the light in her life, and you've made it easy for her to love you. She doesn't tell you often because her focus is being stressed on the troubles of her life. You'll come across so many people who really enjoy your company and make you laugh, cry, and cry while laughing. Enjoy your 20s because you don't know everything. You're still learning and living. Your 30s is where you'll learn to be more than just yourself. Where your heart walks in your shadows, holding its hand, kissing boo-boos, crying of excitement and joy at every milestone. I can't read this last line. The best title in your life you'll ever be is Mom. Wow, that really got to me. I apologize. This is why I love learning things about people, even those that I've known for like forever, for a long time. Like, I encourage you guys as the listener just to ask somebody in your life something like, what would you say? And please email me. I want to get more of these answers to the question of what you would say to your younger self. It really made this episode more light at the end because I talked about a lot of hard stuff that I didn't want to, and I'm human. I let my emotions get to me. I overreact. I say things I shouldn't. I don't treat people how I always should. I make mistakes is just pretty much the one thing I can say. I make mistakes, but there's someone out there, someone in my heart, someone everywhere that will forgive those mistakes. And we all go through hard things, but rely on family and friends and find your higher power. Mine is Jesus, and I'm so happy that I have a Savior that loves me and forgives me no matter what. That's about it, guys. I don't have much left. I don't want to make these episodes too long, so I keep your attention. But don't forget, email me any comments or feedback, or if you'd like to answer the question about what you would say to your younger self. If you'd like to donate to my cause, please check out the link in the email. I should say the link in the description of this episode, that is. And don't forget, check out PCA Utah. Just look at their website, check out about what's going on, donate if you'd like. And as always, don't forget that God loves you.